I was talking about that today when I was looking over the questions. Another one of my friends said she didn't see being biracial as like a race in itself. So I guess like her interpretation was like how other groups of races would see you. Like I guess her interpretation of my race is I'm seen as black by white people and I'm seen as white by black people, but there's no, I don't know, there is no blending, I guess, like you said, of the race in her interpretation at least. But in terms of like, again, it's my comfort level with the people. I know like once people become, I don't know, when they actually speak to biracial people or I guess talk about it and stuff, they realize that, I don't know, I guess they just get a better understanding from the perspective of someone who is biracial. But in terms of like people's general interpretations,
I guess I get mixed reactions. A lot of people think that I'm sort of a Latino background or Hispanic background. Otherwise, I get Arabic background too. So I think it really usually depends on where I am in the world, is what people think I am. But I think it's usually pretty open. Like I've never gotten somebody sees me and knows right then like that I'm biracial.
Yeah, people interpret my race as white. They assume, I guess, that I'm just a white girl that grew up in African American neighborhoods, or that is trying to be black, or is trying to be something I'm not. Especially when I tell them that I'm multiracial, they're like, no, you're not, or not so. And I hate to. I'm not trying to stereotype this. But this is just what's true for my life. It's not so much in the city that this happens, it's in the small towns I've been to that this has happened. People think that I'm making it up. So in the cities, when I tell people, you know, I'm multiracial, they're like, that's awesome, you know, your dad's from Egypt, that's so cool, you know. And people in the smaller towns or that come from smaller towns are like, really, you don't look it, you know, I don't really believe you. And then another thing is, I find it hard to be accepted by members of one of the groups that I belong to fully. Like, people that are from the Egyptian community don't see me as Egyptian, and people from the white community, like, they like see me as a white person, but I don't act white, so they don't really identify me as white. So it's like they can't really put me into a box, which I like, but then again, it's like hard to find acceptance. So that's why you steer towards, I guess, people of all different racial backgrounds.
I think like most people like see me on campus, like they interpret me to be like more African American. I don't think they see the Native American in it too much. Like they probably perceive me more that way when they see me. That's how they react to seeing me. It's kind of like stereotypical.
Whenever somebody sees me, I know they think I'm 100% black, because you can't see the 50% on me that I'm white, because, you know, I could just be a light-skinned a light-skinned black person. So, I mean, once people actually sit and look at me, sometimes they can tell I'm white because of my nose. But other than that, they just think I'm a normal black person.
I would say that people have always, the weirdest thing is that people have never ever been able to guess my race. Just, you know, they're like, so what are you? And nobody ever knows what I am. And in truth, it's very hard to explain, because my mother is, I say, okay, well, my mother is Italian, but she's Chilean. She's Chilean culturally. Our family's been in South America for generations, but we're Italian blood. My father is African American, and he's very, very, very dark, but who would believe that his great-great-grandfather was a white guy, and he has a lot of Native American ancestry as well. So my mother as well has a little bit of Native American ancestry, other Spanish,
Argentinian, lots of crazy stuff. And I've gotten like things like, somebody asked me one time if I was Vietnamese, somebody, people I always get like, are you Cuban, are you Puerto Rican? Now I'm getting, are you mixed, you know, that stuff too, but it's like people, and I find it interesting, everyone always wants to know like where to place you, where to categorize you, as though somehow that's gonna make them understand like everything about you. And it really doesn't at all, because there's other girls that I know that are mixed black and white, and I've never met anybody else that has my particular mixture, but sometimes you have the girl that's mixed with black and white and she is, you know, as black culturally as she could be. And then you have the other girls that's, you know, as white culturally as she can be, and it's just, you know, it's crazy to me, but people are always dying to know, like, what are you? It's intense, I don't know.
No.
Anyway, I think there are advantages and disadvantages. It definitely does not make no difference in my life. It makes a difference. The advantages are I can identify in different ways with a different group of people, and I can identify with biracial people in general, no matter what their race is, because we have a different perspective and we know what it's like to be outside of, I guess, the racial purity idea. And the disadvantage is that people are so confused and like put off by the idea of somebody being biracial, and they're just kind of like, the biggest thing is that, in my opinion, is that they deny half of who you are by what color your skin is. And to me, the biggest thing that's going on in my head right now is with Barack Obama and how everybody's saying he's the first black president. And that really, really bugs me, because I think they should be saying he's the first biracial president. And it feels like America's denying half of his identity, and I feel like that's what happens to biracial people, is that they take your primary skin color and they say that's what you are. And so if I came out a little bit tanner, I would be Egyptian. But since I came out lighter, I'm white. But my brother came out darker, so people look at him as a black man instead of a mixed man. And he even identifies himself as a black man, and I think that's because of the influence society has. I don't think it's something that he just personally decided to do.
I think being biracial has some advantages and some disadvantages. I think one of the advantages is you get to learn about two different cultures, and you get to explore more. Like my German side, my aunt made a book of where my family is from in Germany, what we did, what we were taught to do, and how the family generation has broken down and things like that. And my black side, of course, you get to learn about, you know, the positives and the negatives and the struggles that we come through as a culture. So I mean, it's just one thing that you get to learn and explore. I think one of the negative sides is that when you're younger, because when I was growing up, I didn't know as many biracial people, so it's harder to identify yourself with somebody like you. So I think that's one of the negatives. But now that there's more and more, you know, biracial kids growing up, it's not going to be as hard for the next generation.